Hey everyone, in today's video we've got a very old Harman Kardon stereo receiver. I've actually never seen one of these before. This is the model 820. It says the words 8 and 20 right on the faceplate. This is a pretty cool design. As you can see, it's pretty unique and pretty characteristic of late 60s, early 70s design also. I'm told that when you try to tune to an FM station, all you get is static. I'm told that the FM just does not work. So I'll get some speakers hooked up to this thing, we'll test out the FM, see what's going on, and go from there. Hopefully I can fix this one, because tuner stuff is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I'm still learning there. But before we do that, let's take a close-up look at this thing. You gotta see this. Pretty awesome looking receiver, gotta say. We've got pretty typical controls on here. The switches work like this. You know, you kind of do them like that. You won't find that on a Marantz, that's for sure. We've got all this fun stuff on here. Contour is kind of like loudness, so that's pretty interesting. Controls, we've got switches for 2 sets of speakers, bass, treble, balance, pretty typical. You can see we're missing some caps there, but that's okay. Volume control with an integrated power switch, and then good old tuning knob. You really can't see inside of this thing. Like, I'm going to do this, the camera's going to freak out and not really be able to... Well, you saw it just for a second there, but you can barely see what's behind that glass right there. It's very dark. Let's turn this thing on. We've got it on the dim bulb. I want to show you what happens. So as you can see, the dim bulb is basically unresponsive because this is not a very big receiver. It's not pulling very much current, but like, look at this dial. That is really cool. Really nice looking. What I find interesting about this is there's no AM tuner on this. It's only FM, which, you know, makes sense today, but back in 1970-ish, you might have wanted AM. A lot of cars only came with an AM tuner at a certain point. Very vintage and cool looking. I like that quite a bit. I've already got speakers hooked up. I already did the test with DC. It's cap coupled, so there's a little bit of voltage sitting there. If I turn the speakers to set 1, we hear a little pop. That means they're on. And then we turn the volume up. We've got a whole lot of nothing. We could try and go through. A whole lot of nothing yet. And I do have an antenna hooked up. FM mono, same situation. But I do want to show you that we can play everyone's favorite song on here. And it actually sounds pretty good. So, the amplifier section is working. Don't know about phono preamplifier section, so we need to address this. Why is nothing happening? Alright, this one's been stumping me, and it's been a good learning experience so far. So let's just kind of walk through what I've done so far. So this thing is old, but it does have a service manual, which is a great thing. So if we look inside of here, let's talk about how the tuner works at a very high level real quick. Right here is where your antenna connects, and you can see this wire is going right to the tuner cap. Why is it called the tuner cap? Well, it's because there's a plate air capacitor or whatever inside of here, and when you turn the tuning knob, the capacitance changes. And what that does is it changes the station, basically. This thing's got 12 volts going to it. It's getting there, and then you can see this wire right here is where it kind of goes off into what you call the IF board. This is the very first place the tuner signal goes, this board. So, you know, like I showed, we're getting no stations at all, really, like very, very little sound. If we were getting a station but we weren't getting stereo, it'd be over here. This is called the MPX board. So if you see that acronym, MPX, that's related to stereo signal processing or whatever. So we know that since we're not getting anything, it's probably in here, or it could be in here, and I think it's probably in there. I talked to my friend who's pretty well versed in tuners, and he said, why don't you take a known working tuner cap and kind of jump it over to here and see what happens. So real quick, I'll just show you now. We get nothing. I turn the station, nothing. If we look at the meter, nothing. No movement. So let's go over to the power washed Marantz 2230, which we know has a working tuner cap. So if we look at it, we see it's got the two wires coming out. I know that this white one is kind of equivalent to that white one. So I've got a red jumper on it. And what I can do is I can take this and I can put it right on here. So immediately you can already hear like something. They've got more volume and stuff. So let's do another thing. Let's make sure these guys have a common ground. So we've got the black wire coming off the tuner cap on here, which is where the yellow jumper is. Let's ground that to our tuner cap and see what happens. So it got a little bit better. So the point here is we're getting something. And I still don't have the string on this yet, but I can go in here and I can switch a channel. So it's probably not coming through too well, but like, we can get different things out of this. There, that's a very clear one. If you look right here also, suddenly we've got movement associated with what I do over here. Oh yeah, now I can hear the song. It's that 80s tune that I don't know the name of. Bonus points for those of you who can comment and tell me what the name of this song is. Somebody's gonna know it. But so what this tells us is the issue is probably in the tuner cap, because as we can see, you know, we're coming right off of the Marantz 2230 tuner cap, and if we jump it over here, it sounds like absolute butt, but it's processing the signal. Like, this board is processing the signal, as it should, because I checked all the voltages that I mentioned in the service manual. They're all there. So this should be working. How do you fix a broken tuner cap? I don't know. What I'm going to start with is checking the values of all these resistors and ceramic capacitors up here and see if I can find if one of them's bad or something. Maybe I'll also spray some contact cleaner in there to get the tuner cap cleaned, because maybe there's just an odd foreign object in there and that's what's causing it to not work. Who knows? But that's kind of where I'm headed next. I don't really know what to do other than that, so I'll give it a shot. I'll let you know what I find. I almost gave up on this thing, but then I was talking to my buddy and he said, you know, there's got to be a transistor inside of this thing. And then he noticed this thing's mounted upside down. So in order to get to some of the stuff, you gotta flip it over. So I removed these brackets, the screws in the bottom of the thing were a pain in the butt to get to, but you know, it is what it is. And now these components are an even bigger pain in the butt to get to. Okay, this is a little bit insane. So, you know, like I showed you, I had this thing taken apart. I checked all three of those transistors in there. They all tested within spec. They're not fried or anything. The FET tested as a FET. Our good friend over here. And I couldn't find any resistors out of spec. Capacitors shorted or open. Like, everything tested fine. But, you know, you can probably hear that right now. Like, you know, before we got absolutely nothing. But if I tune to the stronger station around here, and I do, you're not going to believe this, if I do this, so I officially declare myself magic, and the only way this works is if I am in its presence. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I did. I don't like that, but here we are. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm just going to end this one here. I don't really know what else to check at this point, but I know there's a lot of FM radio experts out there that are on YouTube that might be able to chime in and let me know what they think might be the issue is with this thing. Like I said, this is the first tuner issue I've ever troubleshooted, and well, it's going just okay so far. I'm kind of out of ideas at this point. So, in review, I think that the IF and MPX boards are working just fine. I think the issue is in the tuner cap. I took apart the tuner cap essentially, tested all the components on the inside, tested all the transistors, they were okay, and couldn't find any bad resistors or bad ceramic caps. So maybe I missed something, I don't know, but I'd like to hear from you if you know what you're talking about. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.